Welcome to our video on the new features in Analog 5 Professional and Analog Video 2 Professional. Let's take a closer look at them here. I'll start with an image I loaded earlier here in the Raw module. Let's go to the new Artificial Intelligence category. It has plenty of new filters that have been trained with neural networks, including HDR contrast or automatic optimization for brilliance and sharpness and color. Or maybe we want some autumn colors in the image. Whatever you want, you can now do all that for your loaded image directly from the Raw module. Raw module does not just mean a raw image file. It works with JPEGs or TIFFs too. You can use the Raw module with any loaded image. Apart from that, in the settings here, under Extras, Settings, we've added a number of new languages, if that's what you're into. The new languages include French, Italian, Spanish, Japanese, Polish, Portuguese, Dutch, and Chinese. The Chinese here is the classic simplified Chinese used in software products. Then we have lots of enhancements for image preparation. First, we have the correction images up here. A dark frame or a flat frame can be preset here. To show you what that means in detail and how it all works, we've made an extra video that explains all that. How you can use it to improve your images, for instance by removing dark noise or hot pixels and that kind of thing. Next, let's take a look down here at the raw profiles area. You can now include a raw profile, either a custom one or one of the automatically generated ones in your image loading process. So images are automatically processed with this raw profile during the import. That also works really well with batch processing. Here too, there's a separate video that explains exactly how to access and use this feature. I'll load a new image now, so we have a bit of variety. I have a portrait shot here. Now let's go to the next block over. These are the interface functions and visual enhancements, like the effects and presets. At the top here, we've integrated the new interface tool. This is where it is in the Analog Product Series 2. And you can switch the individual modules on and off here. I'll switch them all off, then activate the magnifying glass, maybe the X-Color module, photo film emulation, selective drawing, and LUT style. That lets me set up my own custom interface just the way I like it. If you close the program and reopen it, it opens up again with your custom interface exactly as you set it. In the presets area, there are loads of new features. You'll find 40 or 50 new presets here. And if we go to the raw film category, for example, the new presets are always here at the end of each category. We've done this for a very specific reason. Maybe you got used to the order of the presets in the previous version and have a rough idea of where each look is. And to avoid disrupting that, we've placed the new presets at the end of each category so they're easier for you to find. Not only are there new presets, but the existing ones have also been reworked with new effects. So there are a whole load of new effects. Let's switch to expert mode. Now let's turn on all the areas here, of course. I'll press the plus sign to open them all at once. Maybe I'll close the magnifying glass and the finalization assistant again. You can set that as you wish. Straight away you can see a new effect category here. These are the AI effects, divided into landscape effects and general effects. They also appear in the different presets, which you can see here. There's a lot to keep you busy here. There are loads of things to discover. There are 19 AI effects in here in these versions. And we've also added some normal effects like shearing, offset, trapezoidal correction, clarity, exposure, color tone shift in the RYB color space, that's the Gute color space. Window light incidence is also on my list here. Light bokehs and more. I'll play an effect. Let's add a bokeh. Here we can see 3 new bokeh effects, a general one. Let's double click to add one and we can immediately see what happens. A light bokeh is added to the image, and now down here in the parameter area we can make various adjustments, such as changing the size, adjusting the aspect ratio to our image, or altering the color tone. And if you want, let's reset the color tone. You can also choose from one of the preset bokehs that suits your needs. So there are lots of new effects to discover. So focus is in there and a motif frame. Maybe I could add that here now quickly. Let's give it a frame. Here's the motif frame. And as you can see, a frame is placed around the image that's made from the image itself. This filter is very popular and is really effective. Let's switch to the next image so I can tell you a bit about selective drawing. I'll go back to finalize, close all the interface elements and just keep selective drawing open here. I can find individual modules really quickly. Now let's go to selective drawing. One new module there in the 3D lighting module is a new module for depth of field. You find that here. Let's turn the mask view off for a moment so the image doesn't get too dark. There's a lighting module and a depth of field module. The depth of field module and the lighting module both have their own videos because their setup is a bit more complex, and they both have a huge amount of options. I'd like to focus our attention on composing in this video. Let's activate a composing mask, and we immediately see 4 new buttons with colorful symbols. These image collections come with the program. I'll choose one. Let's say textures and walls. Let's select texture. I'll choose this one. Nothing happens at first. I've just loaded the image. As I said, these collections are free for you to use, and they come installed with the program. And now I'll invert the mask. I'll turn the mask around. Now the image covers the entire picture. Not very spectacular at first, as we can only see the image. But if we go to layer blending and then choose, let's say, multiply brightness, now you'll see how effective that is. We can apply some really beautiful textures to the picture. This area also has many more new options such as multiply brightness, add inversely with swap layers, triple intensity, and right down the bottom here there are loads more. There are a total of 22 new layer calculation methods, bringing the overall number to over 100. That gives you a massive amount of room for experimentation and creativity. Of course, you can still add your own images to composing. Let's click an image. I've prepared a fabric texture here. And this fabric texture, it's missing something when we look at it. It's been applied, but it feels like the image should be distorted with the texture. And that's exactly what we've added. You can now enter horizontal and vertical distortion. So the fabric texture is applied to the actual image as well. Let's activate the vertical distortion. Just click here. That sets the focus. Then I can use the arrow keys to move this slider. Then we can see this fantastic distortion is added. Here at the top of the frame, we can really see how nicely it bends. And that lets you create some very realistic effects. Now maybe we increase the contrast a bit to add some more depth to the image. And down here, we have the module for color balance and highlights and shadows. Let's make highlights a bit brighter and the shadows a bit darker to get a bit more contrast. So you can now really do a lot with distortion and textures, which lets you create some beautiful looks. Let's close that function. I'm going to take a look at one last new feature that's called Replace Current Image, which we can find in the File menu. You can activate it here and you get a message that the image replacing this one should ideally have the same resolution and aspect ratio. We confirm that, and now we can load another image here. And we can immediately see what makes this so interesting. Not only have we loaded a new image, we've applied all the project settings from our previous editing to this image. Down here, you can see there's also an undo step with the previous image, And if I now repeat this undo step, a new undo step is created with the newly loaded image, and we can see it has exactly the same settings. And this lets you apply project settings to other images directly without having to do it manually. So I hope I've given you a little insight here. Have fun trying out the new features.